Hello from Fairshare IT Services. So at Fairshare, we have annual maintenance contract for around 100 clients. So what we do for them is that we make sure that we have a backup of their websites. Then we make sure that we give them like 24 hours free per year, like around couple of hours per month, so that if they want to change any images, add new pages, then that can be taken care of without any hassle or asking them for any payment for such a small changes and all that. So the monitoring and backup is like one of the most important things that we do, and this is where BlogVault comes in picture. So as you can see the dashboard, like currently there are 99 sites that are added to BlogVault. So like this dashboard is something I call it as like a critical feature that I use regularly from BlogVault. Then BlogVault also gives me a summary of number of plugins, themes, and WordPress installations that might need like upgrades or some kind of maintenance. As you can see, this is a huge list, but we don't use this feature very often because upgrading WordPress or any plugin is not that straightforward. Sometimes like there is a error, so there is a lot of testing involved. So we do it very carefully, like and only when like it is absolutely necessary, or when we are making a major change to the website, then we at that point of time we upgrade the plugins and themes, so that there is no the testing covers like any potential issues that might have. Then I think another important thing for me is the status, like it shows one site is like disconnected. So one site I'm not too worried, because it happens like temporarily that it is marked as disconnected because of any network issues, while BlogVault is taking backup from the hosting company. So I usually am not too much worried about that, and our team like goes there and then they take care of it if there is a major issue. Then another important thing for me is that BlogVault keeps 90 days of backups as per my current plan. So if I go to, let's say, like our own website fairshare.tech, then you'll see that there are 90 backups out here. So as I said, like backup is a very critical thing for me. And then within the backup, when you say backup, then of course you need a facility to restore as well, right? So backup, then restore. Then third important thing, I won't call it as critical, but it's quite useful, is like ability to migrate from one hosting company to another hosting company. So this is also quite useful. Then the fourth thing is like ability to add staging. So in case like I want to quickly check if like upgrading say PHP is gonna impact my website, then I can copy it to staging, which will get installed in like BlogVault's infrastructure, and then there I can play around and see if upgrading any plugin or WordPress or PHP is that going to impact like my site. But again, coming back, the critical success factors are like ability to take backup of multiple days, and ability to restore back to any particular day. Then another useful thing that BlogVault does is security check. So whether the site is clean or not, and if there is any virus per se, or it is if it is hacked. And if it is hacked, then BlogVault also tries to clean it up, which is also quite useful and handy facility. But is it useful? Yes, of course it is useful and handy. But then at the same time, I can always roll back to the previous version in case of a hacked site, and I can always upgrade to the WordPress and plugins and PHP to make sure that the site is uh, clean, right? So security feature, yes, useful, but I don't consider it as under the critical success factors. Similarly, the performance thing, I can always use GT matrix if required, but most of the WordPress sites, the performance based on the number of users is normally good enough. Then another nice to have thing is the reporting part. So what BlogVault does is that it sends out the report to the designated client for that website, telling them like if the site was up like during certain period, like let's say if it's a weekly report, then during that week if it was up and running, and then performance and things like that, it very nicely puts it together and then send it to the client with like a covering letter. So that feature is also very nice, but again, not so critical from my point of view, right? So you'll see that this is, uptime monitoring, and then uh, connect to Google Analytics, and things like that, right? So again, these are nice to have, but not too important. So I will go back to the dashboard, and I'll let me see if there is anything really critical for me. So frankly, if you look at it, then from my point of view, really not. From my point of view, backup is really the key. Security, I would probably put it as the just below the critical factor. Okay, so thank you so much.